In a developing story, free agent wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. was kicked off of a plane in Miami Sunday morning, and there's still a lot that's unknown with this story, and Beckham made some vague references to the incident in a series of tweets on Sunday. The Giants, among other teams, are in pursuit of signing the wideout, so let's talk about their pursuit with Mark Cannizzaro, sports columnist of the New York Post. Mark, thanks for joining me here. Some will look at the fact that Beckham got kicked off this plane and they'll say, hey, this is cause for concern when it comes to signing him. The Giants are set to meet with OBJ on Thursday. Would this incident concern you if you were the Giants?
It would concern me a lot, to be honest with you, Dex. And yeah, I think it's a problem. I also am somebody who does not really believe the Giants are that interested in bringing him back. So I think this is just further evidence as to why they won't bring him back. And there's a lot of reasons for that. They're not in a great cap situation. You know, he wants guaranteed money. He's damaged goods. And I frankly don't really buy into the theory from his camp that says he's a much more mature guy than the guy that was here a few years ago with the Giants. So, and today's incident only, you know, it reinforces that. I mean, you just can't let that, you can't let something like that happen if you're anybody, really. But if you're a public figure, you absolutely can't let that happen. And if you're a guy that's about to make a bunch of quote unquote free agent visits this week, you absolutely can't let that happen. So, I mean, to refuse to get off a plane, and again, I'm not reporting on the details. I've been covering the Jet game today, obviously, and immersed with that. I only know the details that are out there, which aren't a lot. But to know that he was told by officials that he had to get off the plane and he refused to do so, that's all I need to hear. Okay. You get off the plane. Even if you don't think he did anything wrong, you get off the plane and you work it out from there.
Yeah, from those details came from a police report that has now come out, and those details that he refused to get off the plane. Now, Mark, we know the offensive struggles of Big Blue this season. So the question for me here is, how aggressive should the Giants be in their pursuit of OBJ? And I ask that question knowing that you're saying you don't really think the team had interest, but if they are interested, how aggressive should they be if they're going to pursue him?
Dexter, I just don't think that this is the way that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll are building this team. They're building it. This really was supposed to be a complete rebuild, a ground-up rebuild. And what's happened is the Giants have played really well. They've gotten to the point now where they're 7-4 and they're in the mix, even though they've lost a couple in a row. But and yes, they have receiver problems. I get it, but I don't see Odell is the kind of player that Daboll wants to bring into this program. Now, Saquon Barkley, obviously, and Sterling Shepard are two close friends of his, and they've vocally, spoke about loving to see him come back. I just don't see it happening. I don't see that being what Brian Daboll wants back in his locker room. I just don't see it. And that's coming from me. I'm not sourcing anything. That's just me reading the room, reading the tea leaves, and knowing Brian Daboll a little bit, and obviously seeing the way the Giants are rebuilding this program here. And I just don't see, particularly for a team that doesn't have a lot of cap space. I mean, Beckham supposedly wants guaranteed money for 2023. I mean, at this point, after what happened today, he should be lucky if anybody signs him at all. Frankly, I think the Cowboys are probably the only team, because it's, Jerry's world, obviously, that are, even after today's incident, probably could just look the other way. I don't see the Giants looking the other way.
Don't see the Giants looking the other way, and I got to admit, it does kind of feel like a Cowboys-esque signing that could go there if OBJ does go there. But we will see where he ends up. I know some Giants fans still have a lot of hope that he can still wind up back in a Big Blue uniform. That is Mark Cannizzaro, the great New York Post sports columnist. Mark, thank you for your thoughts on this situation. We will keep our eye on it.
Anytime, Dex. Thanks, man.